Dave Margolius, Director of Public Health.
Sally Martin O'Toole, Director of Building and Housing.
Good evening, and I'm Angela Shue Woodson, Director of Community Relations.
Okay. How's everybody doing in West Park tonight? Good? That's fantastic. This is an important part of democracy, hearing from your government, answering your questions. For me, being mayor, this is one of the best parts of the job, so I'm excited to be here today for this summer town hall. First, I think it's important that we acknowledge 2 lives that we've lost over the last couple of weeks. First, a 10-year-old Grace Griffin. She was shot and killed in this neighborhood, as well as Officer Jamison Ritter as well, too. I recognize that it has been a challenging couple of weeks for our city, especially for the men and women who serve our city and the Cleveland Division of Police. And so while we have many members of our command staff, while we have many members from fire, police, EMS, they don't get the opportunity to hear thank you enough from our residents. So let's give them a big round of applause if we can. And not only as the mayor, but as a son of a cop, I know firsthand how special the family is in terms of the men and women who serve our city. So the first update I want to talk about is around public safety. Our administration, along with City Council, and I see City Council's in the room here. Let's say hi to Councilman Casey and Councilman Slife. Say hello. Thanks for being here today. We really appreciate it. We've been making some positive strides, I believe, around our public safety efforts. And I know Chief Todd and Director Drummond will chime in later this evening here. But in terms of recruitment, as you know, 3 years ago when we took office, we were witnessing a lot of challenges in terms of attraction and retention of our police officers. And so we got to work really fast, working with City Council and our police unions to really address the real needs of our department. We've done a couple of things to address the attraction and retention efforts inside of our police department. First and foremost, we negotiated the largest pay increase in modern history for the men and women of our police department, and up to 25% of pay increase. We've also streamlined the hiring process. We have new bonuses, new incentives as well too. Earlier this year, we welcomed the largest police class we've seen. 4 classes combined. Over 42 cadets are currently in our current class, and we will have 2 new classes this year, one in August and one in December, and we're trying to target at least 50 to 60 new recruits for those new upcoming academy classes. We've also made historic investments in technology as we try to fight violent crime all across our city. We've expanded ShotSpotter across all 5 police districts. We've also installed more license plate readers as well too. Several weeks ago, we brought in the U.S. Attorney, the U.S. Attorney General, also the head of the ATF, to launch the first ever crime gun intelligence center in our city, because we know we have a major issue in Cleveland with illegal guns flowing into our streets. And we made a lot of good progress because of those investments. Already, homicides in our city are down 34% year to date. Carjackings are down 28% year to date. Shootings are down 12%, and our homicide solve rate is 70% as well too. That's progress. We have a lot of more work to do. All of us in this community have a responsibility to support our city to cut down on violent crime, because public safety is a group community project. Government can't do it alone. The other thing that's important to recognize is that police can't do it alone as well too. And so we made historic investments around violence prevention as well. Already year to date, we've deployed over $2 million of funding to fund innovative violence prevention programs in our city through our Neighborhood Safety Endowment Fund. We've also had programs like Midnight Basketball and year-round programs in rec centers like this as well to keep our children safe and secure as they enjoy the summer festivities. As it relates to basic city services, we have made a lot of positive progress around improving basic city services inside City Hall. Earlier this week, I got a preview of the brand new 311 call center hotline that will be launched later this summer. That new hotline will give our residents the ability to call 311, text 311, or email 311 to track illegal dumping sites, potholes, graffiti, you name it, to ensure we're answering your call and giving you the ability to track your complaint like a FedEx Amazon package as well. We've also enhanced grass cutting by hiring more contractors to augment our Public Works Department to cut down on vacant lots in the city. Through the great partnership with City Council, we've made great improvements in 2 parks in this ward, Impet Park and Jefferson Park as well. And then we also have launched this summer a brand new online tool for residents to sign up for rec center programs online. So positive strides around improving basic city services. Around economic development and jobs, we're seeing a lot of good investment in these 2 wards. Several weeks ago, Councilman Casey and Councilman Slife and I joined many members of council to launch an $11 million middle neighborhoods investment in this part of the city to really restore the critical commercial corridors in this part of our city, as well as targeted investments in home repair and home rehab. I'm excited about the new Hawthorne Elementary School project, a brand new project to bring more housing to this part of the city as well too. And then the administration is also making positive strides around our $50 million new fund to convert over 1,000 acres of vacant brownfield land in our city to attract more jobs to Cleveland. So again, positive progress points around jobs and the economy. So with that being said, we'll open up the floor to questions. We have our entire cabinet here and look forward to your questions. Yes, Ms. Bickerstaff.
How's everybody doing this evening? Well, Mayor Bibb, this is to you. Concerning the Cleveland Police Commission, we want Terry Wan to be removed and Alana Garrett Ferguson so the commission can run. The commission is for the police and the citizens.
Yep.
Those 2 are preventing what the people voted for. They need to be removed, and I'm going to keep saying this until it's done. So what do you propose to do about that?
Thank you, Ms. Bickerstaff, for your question. I understand and hear your concerns and complaints that we received regarding those 2 commissioners. I am not happy or satisfied with the progress of that commission as we look towards the month of December, when our administration will have roughly 6 new appointments in collaboration with City Council. We look forward to having common sense, pragmatic, objective members of our community to make sure we can steer that commission in a better direction to support our residents and to be a better partner to the men and women of our police department. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Yes, next question. Mr. McNeil. How you doing, sir?
I have several questions.
You might want to go to that mic instead.
Okay.
Just speak loud. Try that. You want my mic? Here, come on. Put me to work. There you go, sir.
Okay, first one is regarding the grass. I've watched it. I've watched them cut the grass over and over and over, and I mean the whole thing is wrong. Okay, we need to go back to zero with who put the grass there? Why is the grass put there? Why is that specific grass put there? So before we handle the vacant lot grass problem, we have to handle the restoration after demolition problem, okay? I've watched several demolitions, and we have demolition contractors doing landscaping, and that contract should be split in two, first of all. And as far as the grass cutting, we always hear about this hybrid approach. Okay, the hybrid approach of what? Okay, I used to watch the county land bank cut the side lot next to me every 10 days like clockwork, and they used to use lawnmowers, okay? Zero-turn lawnmower, stand on and sit down. Now, I don't understand why all of a sudden the city of Cleveland can't adopt that along with using tractors and other things. The next thing is street repair. Asphalt is science. Let's follow the science. You can't manipulate asphalt unless it's 300 plus degrees. So they're recycling asphalt. They're recycling the millings from when they mill up the street to do a repave. Why can't they do it hot in place? Why can't they fix potholes the same way with the infrared heaters? And the last thing is, if you're gonna do something with Burke Airport, make it green hydrogen and green ammonia, please, because that's where we're going in the future. And that's what we need to be teaching our kids, green ammonia and green hydrogen. It's coming. We have the source, let's tap into it. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Appreciate it, brother. I'm going to have Director Frank Williams from Public Works answer Terry's question.
Thank you, Mr. McNeil, for your comments. Most of them I do agree with, and we are working through some of those implementations right now. We actually added a hot-in-place recycled asphalt process to our contracts for this year. We're going to be testing some projects over the next, this season and next season with that. I am familiar with the infrared heating in place. I'm not a big fan of it, but we are going to do some more demos with that this year on some projects. As you mentioned with the vacant lots and the grass mowing, we are working on some other implementations that we'll be working on during the off season this year that are similar to what you kind of mentioned as it relates to that process. We're doing all we can to augment, as the mayor mentioned, our staffing, as well as the time that it takes to procure some of the equipment is really like 12 to 18 months. So what we're trying to do is utilize a smaller local contractors to assist with that work while we augment and augment our equipment and bolster those things up as well. So as I do know that Assistant Director Laird is working directly with you for some of your implementations or things that you would like us to try out, and we've been doing that, and we have some other demos coming up this season before the season ends on some other equipment that we may be adding to our roster or to our fleet. We'll be talking more soon.
Hi, my name is Kathy. I'm from Ward 17. Sorry.
Sorry. It's my workout for the day. So
Okay, please forgive me. I'm a little nervous in front of crowds. So I'm Kathy from Ward 17. I actually kind of have a question and a comment. My question is, I have brought it to the attention of other leaders about the problems that we've been having with a ton of people now at the freeways, of whether they're homeless or drug addicts. And the response that I get is, it's not illegal, they could do that. I think it's a safety hazard, and it's also trashing up the neighborhoods and it's slumming it up. If I was a visitor from another place, I would not come to Cleveland if I seen something like that for the fear of being intimidated, attacked, or the way it looks. So I want to know, no other city has this issue. What are we going to do to move forward to alleviate the issues of all of these people being there? Because they're also living behind different stores and on streets. So that becomes a problem for the children. So I would like to see what we could do about that. And the other part is, kids, they have a tendency to get bored and to get into trouble. So they're also a part of the safety issue. So why don't we do something about alleviates the problem with the violence and the trouble and the graffiti? Is we have a lot of buildings that could look very nice. So why don't we have some sort of contests for these children to where, okay, show us your artwork. If your artwork is good enough, maybe we'll let you put it on the side of a building. So they get to graffiti something, but in a nice way, and they get to beautify the city instead of destroying the city. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you for your questions. I'm going to have Chief Todd comment on your first question and have Chief Sonia Pryor-Jones as well comment on your second question. But first, you mentioned a very important challenge we have in Cleveland with our unsheltered and homelessness population. And we've seen a growing number of those in our city that have been homeless as we've come out of the pandemic, as inflation continues to be a challenge, as the cost of living continues to go up, and as the cost of rent and buying a home continues to go up. Earlier this year, our administration announced for the first time ever a city-focused strategy to address our unsheltered population. It's called A Home for Every Neighbor. It's a $2 million initiative, and it's really about a housing-first approach. I don't believe as a community and as a society that we should criminalize somebody that is homeless. We need a compassionate response to address this issue. Through this initiative, we're working with a host of nonprofit partners to house roughly 180 people over the next 6 to 8 months in our city through a housing-first approach to ensure they have the wraparound services that they need. However, if folks are committing crime in our city around basic quality of life violations, we are going to hold them accountable in a very effective way using law enforcement, and I'm going to have Chief Todd talk about that enforcement effort. Does it work?
Okay, so as far as the those that are standing on the outside of the exit ramps, when they start to impact the flow of traffic, when we come into place. So if they are impeding our flow of traffic, our officers can definitely enforce that, as well as the littering that comes along with that. Them being there alone, unless they're standing on the freeway itself causing a hazard, is when we have a fine line that we walk with that. We do address the complaints as they come in. If there is a particular exit ramp that you're, I think it went out. Okay, that's causing a lot of these issues, you know, please let me know. I'm here, the commander from the 1st District, as well as a lot of the 1st District staff are here tonight to hear these concerns. So please let us know where you're seeing this impacting your streets the most, and I will make sure this is addressed.
And while Chief Sonia Pryor-Jones gets the mic about youth programs, you talked about public art. Our administration, working with City Council, just today announced the winners for our nearly $4 million Transformative Arts Fund. And that includes mural projects across our city. And so we have arts programs in our rec centers. The city is investing in public art, and we want to make sure that young people are part of that transformation in our neighborhoods as well, too. Sonia?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd also add to the mayor's comments, the City of Cleveland has been working with the school district and a number of nonprofit partners this summer to ensure that there are some quality opportunities for kids across the city. We identified over 7,000 opportunities between the workforce programs where young people are working each week through the end of July, as well as some of the arts-based program. In addition to the programs across rec centers, in the Michael Zone area, there's also a dedicated space for the arts. And so we also see this, just like you, as a violence prevention strategy. It's essential that all of our kids have a summer plan and an after-school plan once school gets started. And so we're continuing to work on that. We'd be happy to learn more about your ideas and suggestions, partner with you, other residents, our council members, to identify even more creative programs that our kids would like to enjoy.
Testing, 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 testing.
See, it's easier.
Thank you, thank you. Good evening, everyone. So my question today is about street takeovers. With the availability of faster cars, the advancement of car technology, the youth and more people have access to these sporty vehicles. And I understand that the community can see it as a nuisance, hearing it and having their traffic backed up, but it also must be seen as these people need an outlet in which they can use their vehicles properly and safely. Being that I am not in government, I don't understand exactly how to remedy that, but I just wanted to bring that to the attention to let it be known that these people are not out to cause harm or disorder in the streets. They would just like a nice outlet in which they can drift.
I'll touch on this, and I want to have Chief Todd talk about our enforcement efforts as well. You bring up a very important point. This is a balancing act that we have to have as a city, because our residents deserve to feel safe in their neighborhoods. They deserve to enjoy their summer on their front porch without the nuisance of dirt bikes, ATVs, and street takeovers in our neighborhoods. And to me, that behavior is unacceptable. That's why I'm encouraging residents, if they hear about one of these meetups, if they see a street takeover happening in our city, please call 911. Please call your commander. Please work with us so we can get ahead of this and be effective on enforcement. However, it's also important that young people have productive outlets, not just in the summer, but year-round. That's why we are offering free year-round programming in our rec centers. So it's always a balancing act with this, but my priority number one is keeping our streets safe for folks in cars, for pedestrians, for residents, and we need our community to support us with those efforts. Chief Todd.
So thank you for the question. I hear you and I agree with you. These street takeovers are extremely dangerous, not only for the participants, but for the community. What we do is we do our research on social media. We take the tips that we receive from our residents, and we try to get a proactive response to where they're going to meet up. We always don't get ahead of these, unfortunately, and as they come about, when our responding officers are out there, we try to address it in the safest manner. And sometimes that's collecting the information on those vehicles and issuing the citations afterwards to those owners and taking it to the prosecutor. So everything we do as far as that is we weigh in the community safety and the safety of the participants to make sure that we can address this. But there's been a lot of these that we have gotten ahead of, that we've gone out into different communities knowing that this is coming. And as soon as those cars start arriving, our officers are right there and visible. So we are trying to stay on top of this as much as we can.
Thank you, Chief. Next question.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Janet Nevels, and I am a member, resident of Ward 1. I'm a garden leader as well. And recently I got an email that on August 1st, 2024, that the Gardening Summer Sprout program was going to be suspended. I and 130 other community gardens are concerned, and I asked Ohio State Extension Program what was the reason that this occurred, because the Summer Summer Sprout program has been in existence since 1976. And they said that the city of Cleveland failed to fulfill the agreement for the past 2 years. So we are very upset about this, and we would like to see if there's going to be some kind of remedy for that. My other question is, again, I am a resident of Ward 1, and we recently had our street asphalted about a month ago, and they did a very sloppy job. And the reason why I say it's sloppy is because of the fact that they asphalted over our sewer drains and manholes. And I've called and I've talked to my councilman and complained, and nothing still has been done. They have left barrels there. They left a pile of asphalt on a neighbor's lawn. It was a very tacky job. And I would like to see something done before it's a huge rain and our street is flooded. Thank you.
Thank you for your concerns, Janet. I'm going to have our Director of Community Development, Alyssa Hernandez, chime in first on the Green Spouts program, and then Frank will talk about addressing the issue on your street. Director?
Hi there, Alyssa Hernandez, Director of Community Development. Thank you for the question on Summer Sprouts. So we are actually in the middle of contracting, and I am hoping that even before a suspension from the program, that they'll lift it. So we are well into our process. The program has been funded. It has been funded over the past several years through council, and we are looking forward to continuing. And we are just in the contracting process. We are delayed, but not denied. We're on our way, and I'm hoping that you'll see a reversal of that email coming shortly.
Frank?
Thank you, Ms. Janelle. What I will do, my assistant administrator is here. She could get your information and the street in question. I will give you a call tomorrow and make sure this is remedied.
Thank you. Sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Hi, Jeff Marshall, and I need to talk about some city services. I got in this envelope public records. I've been requesting public records for years, these records. I got these last summer. They don't contain all the records that I asked for, but they contain a portion of them. And I couldn't figure out why it's taken so long to get these public records. Since anybody here can ask for public records, I'm sure they would get them. So why is it that I couldn't get these public records? So I opened them up and took a look at them. And I come to find out that the building department has been closing building permits with none of the inspections done. They also been signing off on electrical work where the contractor didn't have building permits or hired a licensed contractor. I mean a licensed electrician. They also were issuing building permits without the contractor having liability insurance. And the worst part is, all the citations that the inspectors write up, they didn't enforce them. Now, because I know all this, and I've been complaining about it for a long time, the city of Cleveland has chosen to intimidate me, to threaten me, and to assault me. And I'm not going to go into all of them, I'm just going to go into the last two. In November last year, I got a phone call from the legal department, from the records department, and from the police department, all on the same phone call. It first started out as intimidation, then it turned into threats. And you think I could report it? No, nobody would let me report it. In January of this year, I got a phone call from the prosecutor's office. Both these phone calls are recorded. I got a phone call from the prosecutor's office telling me that I'm under investigation and they're issuing a warrant. So for 3 months, I am just sick like you wouldn't believe. and I couldn't find out any information about this. About a month ago, a deputy sheriff called me up, and he proceeded to tell me that the prosecutor would never, ever do something like that. So why all of a sudden is all this stuff happening just because I want to tell everybody about this fraud stuff going on between these contractors and the building department?
Thank you, Jeff, for bringing that issue to our attention. I'm going to have Sally Martin O'Toole talk about those issues from building and housing. Sally?
Mr. Marshall, I'm very familiar with your garage construction situation from some years ago, and I will discuss this with the law department, and I'm certain that one of our lawyers will be in touch with you.
Thank you, sir.
I called them 20 times in 3 months. Never got a phone call back.
We'll make sure we follow up, sir. Thank you, Mr. Marshall. Yes, sir. I forgot my job. Sorry.
Hello, my name is Kenneth Shelton. It's real simple, cut and dry. I paid my rent lease for the year. I go to court and the judge dismissed the eviction. So I get home and the locks has been changed. So the old locks was on the ground and I still have them. So I go to the jailhouse and I said, my locks has been changed, what do I do? So they went on to say it's nothing that they could do for me. So I go back across the street to where I paid my eviction lease to stay there. I mean, I'm the head of the household. So they went on to say I had a meeting this last week. So I attend the meeting. The lawyer doesn't show, who's representing me for the 3rd time. And the judge went on to tell me, be cool. So what do you mean, be cool? I'm living in my car. I can't get in my house. I don't know what to do, and I don't want to do anything to cause danger or harm to myself. And I'm baffled. I need help.
So sorry to hear about that. Director?
Yes. Sir, I'm sorry to hear about that. It sounds like the landlord used a self-help eviction method of locking you out without having secured an eviction from the court. So, our staff member, Karen, is going to come approach you and get your information, and we're going to see what we can do to assist you.
Please connect with Karen. Thank you, sir. What's up, man?
Hey, my name is Clyde Golson III. Mine's a simple question. It's like, I know when I was younger, it was a lot of like fatherhood initiative programs, and it was, they would take me to places like baseball games and all type of, I needed that at that moment because like my father couldn't really be there like he needed to be. So I was just wanting to know, how can we create like more programs that gives mentorship from a fatherhood perspective to give children from ages 12 to 17 better perspective to succeed? Because I know when I went to these things and I was around the different people and different environments, it helped me kind of grow, and it helped me understand what I needed to do as a child, you know? So how can we do that?
Thank you for the question. I'm going to have Chief Sonia Pryor-Jones chime in as well, too. But number one, Cuyahoga County has a fantastic program called the Fatherhood Initiative. Certainly recommend that program. In addition, through our new Neighborhood Safety Endowment Fund, we are investing in programs like ICONS that supports middle school and high school boys around mentorship, youth development, career development, life skills training, mentoring as well. And so there's a litany of programs that the city funds, but also other nonprofit organizations for you to tap into to really get plugged in. Chief, anything you want to add to that?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for your question. The mayor mentioned the Neighborhood Safety Fund. There is a specific initiative called Fathers Against Violence that we can connect you to that is focusing specifically on supporting fathers with the development of their children. We also have programming supports with our social support specialists. We have several groups across our rec centers focused on young men and boys. And so if you stop by the Office of Prevention, Intervention, and Opportunity table, the black cloth there, that staff can get your information and connect you with the programs. Thank you.
Yep.
So nervous, Mayor Beals. Okay. Hi, good day, everyone. I'm here on behalf of three reasons, honestly. One, I keep speaking about Stella Wash. It became a problem 2 years ago, and I'm still fighting it. Like, seriously. This wreck, why all the West Side wrecks get funded? And our library ain't nothing like how the West Side is. Not at all, not even close. We can't even get paint over there, let alone the ceiling. They got wood on their ceilings. We ain't got no ceilings. Electrical outlets ain't got no cover, no AC for the kids. Our libraries ain't even got. I'm just trying to figure out why Slavic Village is so last call. Why our kids come last? Why everybody else getting approved 1.5 million for this and gym room? Look at their gym room. Y'all want to see pictures I got? Our volleyball nets hung up with electrical stitching cord. I keep speaking about this for 2 years. My daughter was 2 when I noticed it. She 4 now. It still ain't got no better. They just put a playground. Since I spoke, they got a janitor. They didn't even have a janitor. I've been calling Frank Williams' office for 2 years. This is the first time I actually met him. Honestly, like, and then Sam Gibson, the commissioner, he told me it was a privilege for me to be in his office. A privilege. Me and my daughter was down there in the wintertime. A privilege? You know what I had to do to get there? A privilege? Never again. Like, and not only that, I've been recording and taking the calls, calling down to City Hall. I get it, Mayor Bibbs, I promise you. You're doing a great job. I thank your mother. Honestly, give it to her, because I heard her story at a luncheon that you had. I watch TV 20 a lot. So with that being said, it got to be a change somewhere. And then another big issue. Thank you for bringing all the landlords to the land with Cleveland. That's what I call the land. But thank you for that, because it's a lot of homes that ain't even been good taken care of, especially in East Cleveland. But the main concern that I really have now with all these elderly buildings that's getting built, the maintenance man is robbing the women and they're blind. Going in their apartment building when they at work, or you know how terrorizing that is to go home and somebody to been in your home and to touch your cameras and stole your money out your house? You even said that your mother used to have to start her car up with a screwdriver. Just imagine somebody took her car the only way that she knew how. I told you, I've been watching this for the longest. I ain't new to this. And then another thing is, I do have a 4-year-old daughter. Her education is so big to me. Where the schools at? What are people outside in the neighborhood that tell you what's going on? They not telling us. You know how I had to find out about this meeting? I had to call and harass your office, and the call log is in my phone to even find out where it's at. Calling up, were you walking around the city? Start walking around City Hall.
Thank you for bringing your concerns. And number one, I hear you on the first point about the quality of our rec centers and our parks all across the city. And we need the same parity, the same equity from east side to west side. So let me tell you what we're trying to do to address that. Number one, directly with the Stella Wash Rec Center, we are working as we speak right now to make real improvements, real investments there in collaboration with Councilwoman Moore. Secondly, we are the first administration partnering with City Council to do a complete assessment of every park and rec center across the entire city. Our new Parks and Rec Center Master Plan. This assessment will give us the data that we need to make sure we have the right investment strategy over time to improve the quality of our parks and our rec centers. Thirdly, a big thing I heard on the campaign trail 3 years ago was we want our own separate division of parks and recreation, because right now it was siloed all the way in the division of public works. working with City Council, we just passed legislation to get that done. And I'm going to have Frank also chime in on Stella Walsh. To your last point about holding landlords accountable. And working with City Council, we passed our Residents First legislation to have more teeth to hold out-of-town landlords more accountable in a court of law, whether criminal or civil too. So we have more enforcement to address those issues. And so we're working on it. I hear you. It's not happening fast enough for me. And I want to thank you for your commitment, your advocacy, and your passion, and keep holding us accountable to get the job done, okay? Frank, you want to talk about Stella Washington, what we're doing there?
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I do want to apologize to you if you haven't been responded to by our department. And as I mentioned to you before this meeting, you met with Ms. Brenda, and she's got your information, and I'll be in touch with you soon to work with you directly from my office to work on Stella Walsh and some of those issues that we can address going forward. But we are aware of those issues. As the mayor mentioned, we are working on a few things, and we will be in touch with you really soon, promise.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
So I have 2 questions for you. After publicly announcing your unwavering support for Israel, what tools and/or avenues are you utilizing to support your Palestinian community alongside allowing them to practice their right to free speech that shows them that they are actually safe and welcome in your city, in our city? And my second question is, would you be willing to talk to county council about divesting from foreign bonds, using our tax money to go out to foreign entities so that we can bring it back into our communities and help fix a lot of the problems that are being brought up in this town hall?
First and foremost, I was elected to be the mayor of Cleveland. I'm not a member of Congress. I'm not the president. I'm not the Secretary of State. It's my belief that, and my vow, to make the city of Cleveland a place where we protect one's First Amendment right to free speech. We are a diverse city with a large Palestinian community and a large Jewish community as well too. And I've told my command staff and the chief and the head of our public safety divisions to make sure we protect those fundamental First Amendment rights. And I just support our president, President Joe Biden, and his work he's doing with a coalition of the willing in the Middle East to have peace between Israel and Hamas. And I support this administration's attempt to have a ceasefire to end the violence in the Middle East right now. Thank you, sir. Next question. I'm not going to interfere with the county's legislation. Thank you, sir. Next question.
Hey, what's up? I'm Carlos Fergus. I'm from the Glenville community area. I got some suggestions for real. I was seeing like as far as the youth problems and everything, I was trying to see if there's a way that the city could really like tap in with the prison systems and force like the budgets and stuff they go there to help them come home and transition. And like also probably if the city can create like a social media account that's like more hipper, like more in tune to what the youth into, and probably do little things like bring some more of the up and coming or more famous celebrities, and come with like a little pitch to get them to know like the stuff that the firemen and everything is cool. Like try to make a team that's more urban, if I can say that. Like, you feel me? And one more, because I pay taxes in Glenville too. But is it some type of funding coming from like the 88th to 105 area, how they got going with the Huff areas and everything like that? You know, because I know there ain't been no money in our area in like 40, 50 years. And then I know, you know, it's just like our neighborhood crime rate kind of down and everything. I'm like, when y'all gonna come our way?
Well, I love your idea about having a more hip social media. Our team is actually working with a group of influencers around making our social media channels more diverse, more dynamic, more engaging to young people. I'm going to have Director Woodson also talk about the work we currently do with our prison systems, especially youth that are currently in our juvenile justice system and coming back from being incarcerated. And to your last question about investments in the Huff-Glenville neighborhood, we have tons in the pipeline in Huff and Glenville as well to restore that part of our city. Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you. Director?
Sure. So you and I were talking a little bit earlier today, so we're going to continue to connect because in my office we do work with the juvenile detention facility as well as the state youth correction facilities as well. And we have so many, we occupy 70% of these facilities, but once they're getting ready to come back, I need to be able to connect, especially the young men, to people like you, because they are eager for mentors that are consistent, that can expose them to coming back to something different in the neighborhood, because they are a part on the inside with a lot of my team who you had the pleasure of meeting, of just learning different ways of thinking when coming back into the streets. But we have a shortage of mentors, so I would love for you to be a part of us and to be able to help be a mentor to a lot of the young men that we have coming back.
Thank you. And our young person in the back will be our last question, okay? Thank you.
Sir. Hey, how you doing? First of all, my name is Daryl Houston, and I was wrongfully in prison, and I did 16 years wrongfully in prison. I've been home 17 years now, and I've been invested in my community for 17 years. I have a group home, several group homes in the community. I have transitional houses in the community. I have a car wash and detail shop in the community that I hire juveniles with. I'm doing everything that I possibly can as a human being to make sure that this community is headed in the right direction. And the first thing I want to state is that, Mr. Bibb, this community, a lot of people ask me that I believe in you. And I said, yes, I believe in you. And the reason I believe in you because I believe that you represent the future. You're a young man, okay? And that's what this community needs, someone young that's understanding what's going on in the real community. So I want to point out 5 things to you guys that I think is vital to this whole community and to everyone standing in this room. The fire department has to run on 100%. EMS has to run on 100%. The school system, it has to function where they're actually being taught something, okay? 911, it has to function on 100%, okay? Now, what we have, in my opinion, is a failed transparency. What I would like to see from every elected official from this day forward is be accountable. When people come up and ask you guys questions, field the question, give a guy 10 days or whatever, verbal or in a letter. It's about transparency. Everybody up here, for the most part, some of you guys are appointed, but you people that are elected, you're letting this community down in a way that I've never seen this community be let down in my life. I'm 55 years old, okay? I've been through the juvenile system, okay? You are using an outdated system in the juvenile facility, okay? You cannot keep up with the same curriculum in 2024 that you used in 1985, okay? Another thing I want to state, this is not on Bibb's watch, but I've been watching you for 24 months, right? Like I do all elected officials. Chris Ronay, I campaigned for him, okay? There's some people on this board that can speak truth to light about me. And what I'm trying to tell everybody in this room, we are all in this together, and I mean that. And for anyone to sit up here and say we don't have the funding, I've been watching y'all deep. We have more funding than we've ever had in the United States of America to do anything that we want to do in these communities right now, okay? The biggest thing that I feel that's taking place, again, I'm gonna keep repeating it, and I'm gonna talk to my community because I don't really understand how you guys keep allowing these things to take place with these elected officials. Learn their jobs, read what they're supposed to do, and I'm gonna point this last thing out to y'all. City Council is responsible for utilities and water. Right now, you went from a 1 system to a 2-tier system.
That is city council's responsibility to make sure that these companies do not gouge taxpayers and raise their bills, okay? Start holding every elected official accountable. And there's rules and regulations, such as the mayor. When you run a campaign, you can be held with what you said you were going to do on that campaign. And when you don't do that, you can be removed for failure to fulfill your obligations to the community on your campaign promises. Okay? This is all literature that all of y'all can read for yourselves. Okay? Get educated on how the system works so you can deal with the system and it starts to work for you. Because right now, this system is not working for not one human being standing in this room. And that's including the police.
We need him to run for office. Thank you for your passion. Thank you for your passion. Thank you for your passion. No, I know. Thank you for your passion, sir. I appreciate it so much. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. My name is Basma Ahmed, and I'm here to ask our respectful mayor. You said one time that Israel has the right to exist and defend itself. I'm a Palestinian. I lost my home in 1967 war. Do I have the right to exist and defend myself? Do Palestinians in Palestine and Gaza have the right to exist and defend themselves as well? Please find some justice. We need justice for all, not just one side. Please. And can we have a silence moment for the 46,000 lives that have been lost in Palestine and Gaza, if you don't mind? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next question.
Hello, my name is Kevin Daniel. This more so is not a question, it's an invitation to everyone that's in this room. The Dugway Underground Study Community Outreach Event. I'm gonna give you an explanation of what it is, and then I'll give you more. So the purpose of the community outreach and the event is to share and hear community input on the 3 distinct designs and concepts for creating a water park feature in the Glenview Park. I'm in the Glenville, I'm a member of the Glenville community, that's in the Glenville community. So if you don't know about Project Clean Lake is a 25-year program that will reduce pollution in Lake Erie by 4.1 billion gallons of water per year, a combination of large tunnels, treatment plants, improvements and expansions. The Dugway community study is one of the tunnels, so I wanted to formally invite everyone to that, if they would like to participate.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Sir, good to see you again.
How are you? I'm sorry, I came in a little late. Did you talk about the proposed levy for the schools? Okay, you are requesting more money for schools, am I correct? I have to ask, how many millions of dollars do you send to the Diocese of Cleveland every year for schools?
So thank you for the question. I got your letter. My CFO is examining as we speak. My team will be in touch about your issue. It's an important issue of grave concern to me and my administration. I don't have the answer for you yet, but I know we will be in touch. Thank you.
So you got the letter, you know the question is out there, and you don't have an answer yet. Okay, just so we're all clear, you're asking for more money for schools that you already outsourced to the Catholic Church, a church that has a history of molesting children. Okay, so you're sending millions upon millions of dollars to a church that molests children and discriminates against people. Are you okay with that?
No one's okay with that, sir. Again, I don't have the number for you. My team is on top of it, and I promise we will be in touch about our important, critical next steps. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it so much. Thanks for being here. Yes?
My question is, why are buildings in Cleveland being abandoned but not like being reused and made again? Because like in my school, I live close to an abandoned, not live, but go to school close to an abandoned building, and no one has like literally touched it in so many years. So like you can like reuse it, but I don't know why no one's like making it into something like another thing.
Tell us your name.
My name is Antonuki.
And how old are you?
I'm 10.
Give her a big round of applause. That's a future mayor right there. Fantastic, great question. Before I pass it over to Sally Martin to also talk about this issue, you mentioned a great point. We are a legacy American city with a large, diverse housing stock. A lot of those buildings are in good shape, a lot aren't in good shape. So we have a two-pronged approach that we're trying to address to figure this out. One, we need to demolish those buildings that are dilapidated and old-looking, that aren't safe for our neighbors or safe for kids like you. But then secondly, we need a strategy to replenish those lots, whether it be rehab the home or build new houses. But the other thing we're trying to do is hold these predatory, out-of-town, in some cases out-of-country investors that prey on our neighborhoods, because when they do that, we can't hold them accountable. That's why we passed this law called Residents First, to give us more tools to hold them accountable, okay? All right. Sally, anything you want to add to that?
Absolutely, and I really appreciate the question. Thank you so much for asking it. What we did when Mayor Bibb first took office, one of his first acts was to do a door-to-door property survey where we walked to every one of the 167,000 parcels in Cleveland, and we noted which ones were vacant. We asked 59 questions about each of those properties, and we rated them on a scale of A to F. So one of the very important pieces of legislation that Mayor Bibb talked about that City Council passed back in February was allowing us to have a vacant property registration ordinance, forcing people, especially if they're out of town, to register their properties, pay a fee, put a deposit down so that we can abate the nuisances that we might find on that property. Where we must demolish, we are still demolishing, but we are hoping to preserve as many buildings as possible and bring them back into productive use like you suggested. So thank you for that question.
We might need to give her an internship this summer. All right.
My name is Artis Janke, and don't ask my age. I just want to thank you all for coming. I think this is just a wonderful opportunity for all of us. And unfortunately, a lot of people didn't know you were going to be here tonight, and I think that's sad. I think our PR has to really, not only for the neighborhoods, the city and the neighborhoods, and have to work together. And so I didn't find out about this till last night, and told a lot of people about it, but and most of them didn't know that it was here. So I thank you very much for all coming.
Thank you. Thank you. And on behalf of my administration and the entire city, thanks for being here. This is what democracy looks like. We look forward to having more town halls, and hopefully you have a safe, productive, happy summer. Look forward to coming back. Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate it.
Is available as attachment 2. It shows how much funding each project requested and how much was recommended by the Resident Advisory Board and by the mayor, and this funding sources that would be used. The council has another briefing and public hearing for CIP scheduled for August 13th. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. We'll begin taking comments.
Taylor, please call the first commenter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There will be about 10 people here to speak to this item. The first will be N Canada, followed by Joe Bateman, and then Steve Verno. And you may now unmute.
I am back. So I just wanted to say that, I really like the, I forget what it's called, Livable Streets Initiative, that I think is under CIP. And I would love to see, and especially in the ballpark district, more walkable streets. I live in C9 Flats, and I always try to walk to Target, but there's not really, I know they just updated it, but there's not really good crossing there still. So, just increasing the bike capacity, protected bike lanes, and continuing that good work that's being done for the streets would be awesome. Thank you.
Next will be Joe Bateman, followed by Steve Verno, and then Helen Reynolds. Joe, you may now unmute. Okay, Joe has left the meeting, so we will move on to Steve Verno, followed by Helen Reynolds, and then Cindy Cromer. Steve is here in person.
Hello, my name is Steve Verno, and I'm a constituent of District 6 and the CIP applicant for the Harvey Milk Boulevard Neighborhood Visibility Project. I'm also speaking today on behalf of Equality Utah, as well as East Liberty Park, Central 9th Ballpark, Liberty Wells, and the Granary Community Councils. Our organizations feel that Salt Lake City's LGBTQ+ community should receive more support in public spaces through placemaking, art, and public awareness. This project will help to create visibility and show needed support for the LGBTQ+ community. We would ask that you consider our request for artwork installations on Harvey Milk Boulevard, and that you consider approval of funds for at least a portion of the project, which would provide banner arms on Harvey Milk Boulevard. 27 banner arms would be placed in the heart of the 4 business districts. We have secured private donations to fund the banners to be placed on the poles if they were installed. Salt Lake City encourages and welcomes all residents and visitors to embrace our LGBTQ+ community with equality and unity, and provide a place to enjoy life and live and work in peace and safety and love. Providing additional visibility creates a crucial sense of individual belonging and security for LGBTQ+ people. It is also important to show tourists and visitors that Salt Lake City is a vibrant, diverse community and a wonderful place to visit and live. In our current political environment, it is even more critical that we recognize and provide visibility to our marginalized communities and represent our city as a safe and welcoming space for all people. Thanks for your continued support.
Next will be Helen Reynolds, followed by Cindy Cromer, and then Richard Lehman. Helen, you may now unmute.
Hi there, my application is for shade at the city playgrounds. It's a thing that I grew up in Australia, so we always had shade at all the playgrounds, and to come out here and it be 100 degrees every day, it makes the playgrounds unusable. And it's one of the things that is accessible to everybody, despite their socioeconomic background or where they live. I would love to see them covered so that anybody all over the city and every district gets to have a park that is shaded all day. And I think this is made even more important in today's front page article on the all-time heat record that the University Health Burn Center and the Salt Lake City Fire Department both warned residents to be careful around common heat hazards in the hottest part of the day, including surfaces in playgrounds. And I think we put a lot of money into, you put a lot of money into building these playgrounds, and it's really a bummer that they can't be used between 10 a.m. and about 5 p.m., 6 p.m. each day. So I'd love to see money put to this so we can have shade and all the kids can enjoy it all day. Thanks.
Next will be Cindy Cromer, followed by Richard Lehman, and then Skylar Westerdahl. Cindy is here in person.
This afternoon, I sent you a photograph from the 1920s of the Liberty Park greenhouse. It's taken before the Kew Gardens type canopy was removed. to salvage the steel for the war effort. I remember those days. I heard about them from my mother. They used to save the foil on the gum wrappers for the war effort. So I thought back to those stories I heard as a child when I heard about this canopy. At any rate, I want to urge you to support the recommended funding for the greenhouse in Liberty Park. In recent decades, we've seen the rebirth of Tracy Aviary. It's stunning. With new buildings and the renovation of the Chase Mill and the Wilson Pavilion, we've seen the construction and now the redesign of the Rotary Playground, accessible Rotary Playground. And we've seen the location of the Youth City program in a historic building in the park. The greenhouse, however, appears not to have received the same kind of reinvestment that other structures in the park have received. And it is essential to have this greenhouse to propagate drought-tolerant plants and to promote their propagation within the city and beyond. And the greenhouse, activities in the greenhouse could be integrated into other activities in the park. So I urge you to fund this. This is the second year that the application has come before you. Thank you.
Next will be Richard Lehman, followed by Skylar Westerdahl, and then Alicia Klein. Richard is here in person.
Hello, I'm a co-author of the Parks Restroom CIP study, which it appears may well be approved by the council this year, which we're thankful for. But since that's been in the process, other groups have come to council asking to leverage this study to other areas of the city. I think that's great. There are probably 4 distinct areas we should consider: parks, downtown, Central City, and the Jordan River Trail. I want to make the point that a one-size-fits-all solution does not exist, and I'm concerned about the expansion of the study leading to that. The current guidance for the city dates to 2013, and it's one solution for every place, and it obviously doesn't work now. And that the parks element of a study shouldn't be stinted in a expansion, which again, I think looking at the city comprehensively in terms of restroom needs is excellent. But just that I want to make clear that the appropriateness of differentiated solutions should be at the top of that consideration. And I will be providing additional written comments. And I do want to say that the addition of other groups in the process made me realize that the parks have a similar issue of needing differentiated solutions between regional parks and other parks. So again, thank you, Council and the executive branch for the support of this proposal, and I hope to be able to participate in public meetings going forward on it.
Illegal immigration is a crisis in America and Ohio. Senator Sherrod Brown backed President Biden, voting to give illegals our tax dollars, voting 10 times to protect sanctuary cities that release dangerous illegal immigrant criminals onto our streets, and voting to give amnesty to over 11 million illegals, including those convicted of crimes like aggravated assault, drunk driving, and child abuse. Tell Senator Brown to start voting against illegal immigrants and for Ohio families.
I can tell that she has a great sense of humor, but she hasn't told me a joke yet.
Want a career as a pet psychic? We're not the school for you. Want a career-focused degree that's fast, flexible, and affordable? Apply now at post.edu. Post University.
Next will be Skylar Westerdahl, followed by Alicia Klein, and then John Crancroft. Skylar is here in person.
Hello, I'm speaking on behalf of the Westminster Urban Forestry and Traffic Calming Measure, CIP. If there's one thing I hate more than public speaking, it is hot, dusty roads and speeding traffic. The Westminster area that I'm speaking of is a mixed low-income and single-family area, as well as the route of the Salt Lake City Marathon. And it's been, I think, overlooked a bit in regard to Salt Lake City's urban forestry and traffic calming measures and initiatives. The goal of overall these initiatives is to reduce urban heat islands, and it is so hot right now, as we all can agree. Reduce energy consumption and promote active transportation and safety. I think this initiatives will contribute to all of those goals, as well as really help mitigate a serious problem that we have in this area in regards to traffic.